Hi everyone and welcome back to Fully Playable Games. So in today's video we are going to be looking at another cancelled game, and yeah, this time it is actually going to be our first port. So this is going to be a cancelled port that was destined for the Dreamcast, and that is going to be Half-Life. So yeah, Half-Life has been about since, I think it was originally released in 1998 if I believe right. And yeah, over the course of the years, it was due to be ported to a variety of different systems. Some systems it made it to, like the PS2, but other systems, like the Dreamcast and the Mac, it never actually made it there. So in today's video, we are going to be looking at the Dreamcast version. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive straight into this because I'm going to go into all the cancellation details while the game is running through its sort of opening cinematic. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch straight over to the Dreamcast now, and then we will have a look through the menus and everything like that before we dive into the actual game. So while we're waiting for the Dreamcast to boot up, let's go into a bit more detail on the game itself. So originally it was due to be released in 2000, and yeah, it was developed by Captivation Digital Laboratories and published by Sierra. So yeah, it was quite an achievement that the game was actually due to be released on the Dreamcast at all. But yeah, we'll go into a bit more details about why the game was cancelled once we get into it. And I will admit, this title screen really impresses me because you compare it to the normal, like the PC version of Half-Life. And what I'll do is I'll pop up a little clip of it, and you'll see it is so different. So if we go in, so press start, what I do is go have a look through the menus first. So obviously we've got new game, load game, and options. But what you can hear is, I'll be quiet for a second, as I'm changing through the options on the menu, you'll actually hear the same sort of noise that you get with the PC version. So yeah, really good that they've brought that over. So in the actual options screen, we've got 4 different options that we can look at. We've got controllers. So we can look at the preset controls. We can set advanced controls. And then we can also customize the controls. So if we go into preset, we'll see what the control scheme is. Because what you've got to remember is with Half-Life, all of the other platforms that it plays on either uses the mouse and keyboard or a dual stick controller, whereas with the Dreamcast it's only one stick. And as you'll see here, so you'll see we've got look is on the actual thumbstick, but the movement controls are actually on the coloured buttons just on the other side of the controller. So yeah, really strange way to do it, but obviously if you think about it, it's probably the only practical way. Now with Half-Life, it isn't really a game where they could have had a sort of fixed viewpoint. So yeah, I can see, to a certain point I can see why they've done it the way they've done it. But yeah, we'll sort of see how that goes when we get into it. Then we've got all of the sort of action buttons on the D-pad. So up is jump, down is crouch, fairly straightforward there. And then we've got left turns on your flashlight, and right is your use option. Shift on the top, I'm assuming that is going to be like shift on the keyboard to control running or something like that. And then you've obviously got your weapon fire up the top. What I don't see is how we change weapons. So obviously on the original Fallout, not the original Fallout, sorry, the original Half-Life, it was either done with the number keys or the mouse wheel. So yeah, be interested to see how we do that. So I'm not going to change the controls, I'm going to leave them as is. So if I press B, and eventually it will decide to go back. There we go. So yeah, it's very, don't know why, going back in the menu is very delayed. And then we go into advanced controls, see what we get here. So we can turn the crosshair on, invert the analog pad, so that is the thumbstick. That is obviously controls you're looking. We've got auto aim on, which I'm going to leave on for now. And you can toggle the sensitivity. I'm probably going to bump this down a bit because when I've had a brief look at the game before, it's very, very quick to move. So we'll probably tweak that a bit when we actually get the game to load. So just press back, and there we go. So if we go into custom controls, so yeah, this is where we can go in, but can I see? So we can't swim. Right, attack right trigger, alt attack. Oh, it's shifted right trigger. So yeah, so our alt attack is going to be both triggers. Use, flashlight, jump, crouch. Crouch toggle, that's what we want. Reload, shift, D-pad up. Oh, wow. Next item, shift, D-pad right. Right, so changing our weapons is going to be shift and then right and left on the D-pads. And walk and run. Oh, right, yeah, so that's... So, I'll tell you what, actually, let's... no, I'm gonna leave... No, I'll tell you what we'll do. So, let's... So, shift, down. I'm going to actually do that as a toggle. Yeah, and then... Okay, so we've got a better idea on the control scheme. I will admit, just looking at that, it is quite advanced with regards to the fact of how limited you are with the Dreamcast controller. So, yeah, I can see why they've done what they've done. Okay, so let's go back when it decides to. So, look, I'll show you here. So, this is me pressing the B button now. That one was a bit quicker. And then if we go into audio. So, yeah, sound effects. I'll probably bump those up a bit. The HEV Suit. Music volume I'm going to leave off because I just find that kicks in wrong, like the wrong times. And I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever played Half-Life with the music on. And we'll leave stereo sound on. So let's try this again with the back. So press. There you go. So it's not instant. But then obviously, I'll show you about the codes in a sec. But if I press A, it literally happens straight away. Okay, so this section. This is essentially the cheat section for the game. So you can see this is how far the game was along. And yeah, I'll go into that in a bit more in a minute. But yeah, we've got a full cheat system integrated into the game. And the way that the cheat system works is that you've got the 3 columns here, and you basically have to make a phrase in order to activate the cheat. So yeah, we've got if a valid access code is entered, they'll appear in the other screen, which we'll go into in a minute. The codes that you can use are sort of general gameplay codes, as well as location and chapter unlocks for both the Half-Life base game and Blue Shift expansion. So if I have a look at the list here, so we have, so in the general section, we've got slow motion, invisibility, infinite ammo, invulnerability, low gravity, and all weapons. And then obviously you've got all the different chapters throughout the base game and all the chapters through Blue Shift as well. So let's have a look. What shall we do? I'll tell you what, let's do the infinite ammo. Because then it's not going to unlock all the weapons, but yeah, we probably won't even get to... no, we probably will get the pistol. So that is Dreamcast gives firepower. So if we look here, so we've got Dreamcast gives firepower. There you go. So that has activated the infinite ammo. And then if we go back, we go to select codes. We should see infinite ammo there. And we can just toggle it on. So I'm going to leave that on for now, and we'll see what happens when we get into the game. And then what we'll do is we will just jump in and start a new game. So you'll see here we've got 3 options. So we've got the Hazard course, which was the sort of training level from Half-Life. We've got the main Half-Life base game, and then Blue Shift, which is actually an expansion which follows Barry Calhoun, which is the security guard that you meet right at the beginning of the game, as well as he also plays a bit more of a sort of bigger part, shall we say, in Half-Life 2. So we're going to play the base game and sort of let that jump in. I'm just going to select easy, just because that way it makes it a bit easier when I'm talking. So, the history of the game. So on the 14th of Feb 2000, Sierra announced that the port of Half-Life was actually coming to the Dreamcast console. It was being developed by Captivation Digital with Valve and Gearbox software involved. It would feature improvements including higher polygon character models as well as new lighting effects. Gearbox, who developed Opposing Forces, created the new single-player campaign, which was originally exclusively developed for the Dreamcast version, and that is the Blue Shift expansion, which focused on security guard Barry Calhoun. The port was actually delayed a couple of times during its development, so it was originally due to be released till September 2000. Was then pushed back to November 2000, and when game publications began to receive early copies for review, reception was mixed, with criticism for inconsistent frame rates, long load times, which has worked out quite well for now, and the lack of online play. Sierra did state that they did plan to release a version with online multiplayer using SegaNet. And Randy Pitchford commented that he had suggested multiplayer modes and mods from the Windows version, including Team Fortress Classic and the multiplayer mods from Opposing Forces. Sierra delayed the port again, saying that they hope to finish development in 2001. And then before the cancellation itself was announced, on March 29th, 2001, Sierra announced that Blue Shift would be ported to the Windows version of Half-Life, and it would be released along with character models that were developed for the Dreamcast version as part of the Half-Life High Definition Pack. And following the cancellation of several third-party Dreamcast games in the wake of Sega's decision to end support for the Dreamcast in March 2001, Sierra then cancelled the port of Half-Life on the 16th of June 2001, citing changing market conditions. Now, the announcement came 4 days after the release of Blue Shift on the Windows platforms, and it was just weeks away from the planned release date for the game. At the time of cancellation, the game was virtually complete as well, so yeah, it was a real shame that they didn't just push ahead and release it. Which, yeah, I think sort of at the time, if you've got a game, and even though the console was not being supported, I don't see why you wouldn't just release the game. Obviously, I would assume by that point they would have already had sort of some marketing already in place. Maybe they just didn't want to sort of put any more marketing costs, or well, technically there would have been payments involved with regards to store stocking and everything like that. So yeah, I don't know, but if you think sort of the game's pretty much complete, why would you not just release it? But hey ho. So after the game was cancelled, the Dreamcast port actually became the basis for the port to the PS2, which was released in late 2001. This version added a competitive play and co-op expansion called Half-Life Decay. In 2013, a late version of the Dreamcast port did leak online, and that's the version that we're actually going to be playing today. And that featured the complete version of both Half-Life and Blue Shift. So yeah, it was another game where I've seen that so far with quite a few of the games that we've been playing. and that I've also got scheduled for this series on the channel, where they're being cancelled basically so late in development that they're pretty much ready to go. But yeah, it's nice that we actually do get to play it. And from what I've seen of the game so far, so you will see, actually, I don't know if you can see it on the video as it's playing, but you can see the frame rate issue because it's very sort of stuttery as we're sort of travelling through this tunnel at the moment. So I'm assuming the fact that that is because when it was cancelled, they probably hadn't gone and done sort of the optimisation work. Now, even though it was cancelled a couple of weeks before, or sort of weeks before it was due to be released, these decisions would have obviously happened probably months in advance of that. I wouldn't have been surprised if... So, what was it? So, June was the cancellation date. And I wouldn't have been surprised if sort of by sort of late March, beginning of April, they've actually decided that the game was getting cancelled. And it's just obviously, that amount of time to actually go through the process to actually get it cancelled and sort of announce it to the public. But yeah, as I say, sort of it's good that we actually do get to play it. Looking at it, I'm trying to sort of work out sort of what I think with regards to sort of... You can definitely tell it isn't optimised. Because even just... Like, if you're watching... if we go over here. So you look at the walker about how sort of stuttery it is. And even things like the audio. So we've got the voiceover going on in the background. But for me, even with my headphones on, it's really quiet. And I think we have bumped up the sound effects and things like that. And what you'll see, I don't know if I showed this before, but just on the controller, you actually get the Half-Life logo on the VMU. But yeah, what I find with this as well, so if you're looking at like the load times, it's definitely, the load times are massively higher than the PC version. And once again, I just think it's down to lack of optimization. I think the time periods that they were working with, they just basically skipped out on the optimization spell. Or, to be honest, it may even be that when the version that's been released was a version sort of before it was optimized, potentially. But you even look at the way that the floor is sort of like rendering in. So if you think sort of like we've got what two sections of the grate on the floor is loaded in, and the rest of it's loading in as we go. I will admit, these controls are really strange. So as I say, to move forward, you're using sort of Y, A's to move back. B and X, I think, are strafe, and then. But what I tend to do is I'll be using sort of Y and A to move forwards and backwards, and then the analog stick basically to go to move. So did that actually was? Oh yes. So right, you would have seen just then. Actually, come up with the area that we're going into. And then the code to actually unlock that area. I think it was Gordon Goes to Work. So, yeah, we'll see that as we go into the different areas.
I had a bunch of messages for you, but we had a system crash about 20 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to find my files. Just one of those days, I guess. They were having some problems down in the test chamber, too, but I think that's all straightened out. They told me to make sure you headed down there as soon as you got into your hazard suit.
So let's go and get in the hazard suit. So yeah, you'll see as we're walking around, sort of like the textures on the walls, they're sort of loading in. You can see them loading in as we're sort of walking through. And I wouldn't say that that would have been a limitation for the Dreamcast version. But, well, technically, because the PS2 version would have been the sort of a next-gen version. So, one thing I always like to do when we come in... There you go. Screw that guy's lunch over. We've got Gordon's locker. Right, wait there. Don't know why that looked like something you could walk through. Right, let's go and get our hazard suit. Yeah, I will admit, definitely prefer playing this on the PC. Okay, so what you'll see is where am I? There you go, just up the top there. We've got the icons for our walking. So if I... So what was it? It was shift down. Yeah, so that toggles our walking. So you see there. And then we've got our light. And then down in the corner, just down this side, we've got our health and basically armour. So let's get down to the test chamber now. Might as well get to the point where we can get our crowbar. Trusty crowbar, should we say. So yeah, it's... I don't know what it... well... Yeah, I definitely agree with sort of the review saying about the long load times. I'll be honest, the frame rate, yeah, isn't great. And I will admit, this is another thing that gets me with this. So I've had it when I was sort of testing the game after I sort of first burnt it. I found that whenever you were using the action button, which is right on the D-pad, it would always crouch me as well. Now, whether it's just my fat fingers on the controller or if it's just a bit too sensitive, I don't know. Now, what I might actually do as well after we finish recording is actually have a look and see. So if I play this first bit, see actually if the load points are in the same position as the PC version, or if they've had to change the load points. I'd probably say they're probably in the same position.
Ah, Gordon. Here you are. We just sent the sample down to the test chamber.
We've boosted the anti-mass spectrometer to 105%. Bit of a gamble, but we need the extra resolution.
The administrator is very concerned that we get a conclusive analysis of today's sample. I gather they went to some lengths to get it.
They're waiting for you, Gordon, in the test chamber.
Access denied.
Come on then, hurry up, let me through if they're waiting for me. So I think that's quite funny if you think sort of like I'm the guy that's meant to go into the test chamber, but I don't have clearance to actually go into the area. Yeah, I think it's more my fat fingers than anything else with that crouch. So what I want to do is I want to actually just get to the point where we get the crowbar, but also I want to get back up and actually get to the pistol, so that we can see, for one, if the cheat actually works, and two, how it feels to actually shoot with this control scheme.
I'm afraid we'll be deviating a bit from standard analysis procedures today, Gordon.
Yes, but with good reason. This is a rare opportunity for us. This is the purest sample we've seen yet.
And, potentially, the most unstable.
Now, if you follow standard insertion procedures, everything will be fine.
I don't know how you can say that, although I will admit that the possibility of a resonance cascade scenario is extremely unlikely.
Gordon doesn't need to hear all this. He's a highly trained professional. We've assured the administrator that nothing will go wrong.
Ah, yes, you're right. Gordon, we have complete confidence in you.
Well, go ahead. Let's let him in now.
If I remember rightly, we've got to go over here first.
Testing. Testing. Everything seems to be in order.
All right, Gordon. Your suit should keep you comfortable through all this. The specimen will be delivered to you in a few moments. If you would be so good as to climb up and start the rotors, we can bring the anti-mass spectrometer to 80% and hold it there until the carrier arrives.
Okay, so now things will hit the fan, as we say.
Very good. We'll take it from here.
Power to stage 1 emitters in 3, 2, 1.
So for some reason I always end up standing here watching this part sort of boot up. Yeah, I will admit I am going to be interested to see. So what I'll probably do is, while this bit's sort of loading up, I might try and put some footage in from the PC version. I think I have captured this in the past. So yeah, we can see sort of what the difference between the two. Because I definitely think, especially the bits that are sort of moving around, I think they're definitely...
Probably not a problem.
I don't know whether they look sort of lower poly or higher poly than the PC version. So yeah, I'll be interested to see. As I say, I will drop some footage in. If I've already got it, I will admit I'm a bit behind with regards to filming, so I won't get the chance to actually film any more footage after this. Okay, here we go.
Get away from the beach.
Shutting down. Attempting shutdown. It's not shutting down. It's not.
So that was a good day at work. Well, admit though, if you think about sort of when this game was made and how impressive for the time, the story and just the way that the game was actually constructed, there's a reason why Half-Life has got such a legacy to it. It was definitely sort of the game that moved the first-person shooter genre on from the likes of, sort of Doom and Wolfenstein. But now, obviously, now that the facility is basically been destroyed, we've now got to work our way back out. I will admit, so I have played through all of the Half-Life games and the expansions, and the only one that I haven't played so far, So here we go, unforeseen consequences. We've got the code there. Gordon teaches physics. But yeah, so far the only Half-Life game that I haven't played is Half-Life Alyx. So do I use this one? I think I use this one, don't I? There we go. Wow, all the obstacles are really making this control scheme stand out. That's that one, wasn't it? No, I don't want to crouch. So in here I get the crowbar?
Why didn't they listen?
We tried to warn them.
I never thought I'd see a resonance cascade, let alone create one.
Gordon.
How do I... It's been ages since I played this.
I'm afraid to move him and all our phones are out. Please, get to the surface as soon as you can and let someone know we're stranded down here. You'll need me to activate the retinal scanners. I'm sure the rest of the science team will gladly help you.
With my brains and your brawn, we'll make an excellent team.
Come on in. So yeah, it'd be interesting actually. I don't know whether... I don't think in modern time there's no sort of modern controller for the Dreamcast that makes it a bit more sort of modern with sort of dual analog sticks or anything like that. But yeah, it would be interesting actually if you could get a dual analog stick controller. But even if it replaced the D-pad and then you'd put the action buttons as sort of what they should be. Again, I don't think I've got... I don't get the... I think it's at the end of this room, isn't it, that we get the... Yeah, here we go. Okay, so that's interesting. So normally on the PC version, as that lift is falling, you get the scientists that are in it sort of screaming. But we didn't get that here. So whether that is something that they've removed from the game, not 100%.
That's one less horror in the world. Gordon! Man, am I glad to see you. What the hell are these things? And why are they wearing science team uniforms? Okay, I'll cover you. You go on without me.
Okay, and then as you... I don't know if you saw there with the other one, but the bodies then phasing out. So, do I get... I think, is it round here that I get the... No. No, it's not. It's up just after the main bit, isn't it, that we get the pistol. But as I say, sort of once you get used to the control scheme on this, it's not too bad. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really interested to sort of have a look at this game to compare this to the PC version, because yeah, I think it is. Oh, I'm on my own. Okay.
Minor lacerations detected.
Alright, and then I don't think there's actually a. Oh yeah, I think it's down here, isn't it? Oh, okay. That might be something that's missing from this. Can't quite remember. So once again, it's something I'll have to check afterwards. I thought on these walls just here, you had health and armor regeneration. I know that we've got a...
Power 20%. Power 40%.
And then I think... Oh, actually, there we go. There's the health station. So, 97, that's fine. And then if I remember rightly, I think there's a head crab zombie in... No, I thought it was a zombie in one of them. Right. So let's head up and see if we can get to the bit where we get to the pistol, which I think is the area coming up now. I can't remember if we get the pistol before we get to the reception area or just after. There we go. So yeah, as you'd see, the load times are pretty horrendous. No, I thought it was the vent up there. Okay, so we need to go... Yeah, we go through this vent, don't we? I think it's up here, isn't it? Yeah. No, can't get in to save him. I swear I swear we should have had the pistol by now. Or is it here? Yeah. So let's skip through this next bit, and then what we'll do is we'll kill a couple of enemies with the pistol, and then yeah, I'll give you my thoughts on Half-Life on the Dreamcast, because yeah, it's interesting, shall we say. I don't know why it just seems to sort of hang at this bit, then it disappears, and then it kicks in. So how do I... Oh, is it? No. Ah, there we go. Got control button. Right, where are they? That pistol seems to be a bit more powerful. Because normally they're normally 2 shots.
Lead the way.
Yeah, they're normally 2 shots on the PC version. There you go. There's a G-Man up there. I can't remember. Was it? No, that's different weapons.
This magnitude is extremely improbable.
There we go. So it's shift up to reload. Yeah, I would definitely say that the pistol is a bit more powered. It definitely seems to sort of take enemies down a lot easier than in the original version. Okay, so I think it's through here. We need to go in it. And then it should be a loading screen just coming up. Alright, yeah, this... Oh, okay, I can just... Not that I can remember where I've got to go. Up here. Well, I've got to try to anyway. There we go. So we're up and out there.
I hope those people lab can get this under control.
I can't remember. Okay, so I've got, yeah, basically got to go round, haven't I? Yep, just up there. Oh, it's so difficult to get. There we go. So that gets us out. And what I'm going to do is I am going to hold it there. Because, yeah, we've been going for 43 minutes on the game. And yeah, I think we've got a good sense of sort of how it plays. You can definitely see that it's really close to the original. So 2 seconds. Let me just pause it once it kicks in. There we go. So yeah, I think what I've found with this is that for me, I think had the game actually been released, it would have... I think the main complaint that a lot of people have had, obviously, yeah, we're seeing the long load times and the stuttering and things like that. I think all of that would have been picked up in the optimization phase or before release, you would hope. But I think for me, the biggest thing with this is obviously the control scheme. I don't think the Dreamcast controller is built for this type of game. Now, yes, we can have first-person shooters and everything on the Dreamcast, but I think where you've got the multi-axis viewpoint, it's a difficult one to do without the second analog stick. I will say I think their solution to the problem was very unique and, to a point, well implemented. It is just, personally, as you've seen, like especially at the end bit there, where I was sort of trying to get out of the water, actually getting the sort of actually looking at the bit that I needed to get to as I was moving forwards, could prove quite difficult, and it did actually cause me to lose life both times that I was trying to get out. Now, that I could probably mitigate that by adjusting the options with regards to the sensitivity of the thumbstick. But to be honest, it wasn't something that, there was no point spending the time to fiddle about with that. I purely, for this video, wanted to get in and see what the game was like. And yeah, as I say, you can tell that it's definitely a build before any optimizations were done on the game. So yeah, there is still work to be done. Now, as I said earlier on in the video, when we were talking about the leak of this version, it did say, and let me just pull it up again so I'm actually sort of quoting it right. So yeah, this version does contain complete versions of both the Half-Life base game and Blue Shift. So whether those parts were actually finished before cancellation, because obviously from what I've seen online is that there's not actually a percentage given for how much of the game was complete. A lot of the publications that I've found all just say virtually complete. Now, whether that was the fact that both Half-Life and Blue Shift were completed before the cancellation, or if someone's got hold of the build and then made the updates to actually finish it off, I don't know. I would probably say that virtually completed meant that all of the gameplay elements were in. It was just missing the optimization phase. And that's basically how it looks from what we're seeing at the moment. There was actually something as well with regards to the cheat system. The strategy guide, which was actually released, I've seen a couple of copies going online, but they are mega money. I think they go for around £150 if you can get hold of one. But there is a cheat code in particular in that strategy guide that was never implemented for this build, and that is Zen Teaches Black Mesa, which is meant to have the effect of Zen gravity on Earth. But as I say, yeah, it doesn't feature in the leaked build. But yeah, as I say, it is an impressive game for what it is. I think personally, it's not the version that I would choose to play, just because I think the controller on the Dreamcast is limited. But yeah, very interesting to actually see it, and yeah, great to see another version of Half-Life that we potentially could have lost. So yeah, with that said, that is going to wrap up today's video. But before you head off, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're not already, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to be kept up to date when I upload new videos. And yeah, with that said, thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye.